Exhibit A.
Jay Electronica, Hanukkah, Yarmulke. You remember that clip?
I do.
This is Jay Electronica, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa.
And a yarmulke. No disrespect.
I'm gonna put on my yarmulke. Check my barometer.
Going fast on the speedometer.
Take my temp with the thermometer.
Not a mile, it's a kilometer. We can do this for forever, trust me.
Let's go. We're going to talk about Jay Electronica, his recent drops, and ultimately why we probably don't feel, or maybe I don't feel, that Jay Electronica is going to amount to what we think he's going to amount to, even though he's turned in 19 projects. So I'm confused.
A little bit.
So let's start with the facts, right? So recently, Jay Electronica has put out essentially 3 EPs and released a bunch of different older projects and some reworkings of some things. What's the latest single that he's done that he's reworked?
Abracadabra. So it's Abracadabra on the A Written Testimony on the Leaflets album.
Okay.
So that one's his rework from his Abracadabra song in 2008.
Right. Ultimately, with these releases, the idea is that he is sort of back and ready to put out more music. But ultimately, I don't think that anybody's checking for Jay Electronica like that. Like, what do you think?
I don't think anybody but his fans are. I think with his motives of not being an industry artist in that way, he's literally just popping out when he feels like popping out and just for his fans.
But I feel like that's it's so weird to me, and it's not because like I'm a stan.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like I was excited about Jay Electronica back in 2008, 2009. You know?
Same.
And I was excited because like we used to play Exhibit A and Exhibit C on college radio a lot. Thinking that this guy would go and like then make some more singles, make some more albums. And this was around the time that like we needed somebody to carry the torch for hip hop.
Yes, it was. I think he was the most, when Exhibit C dropped, he was the most prevalent artist of those, like whether it was with the Cole, Kendrick, Drake, like origins, that Exhibit C verse was, you didn't feel like any of them were touching that because of how prolific it was. Because I remember the conversations around it. I remember like everywhere I would go, if I was hearing that song playing, there was somebody that was rapping it word for word.
Yeah, and it goes from like, you know, between 2005 and 2010, Questlove's whole like, well, the music ebbs and flows, so every 5 years there should be somebody that comes and rises up. Jay Electronica was a part of that, which is why the Control verse was so epic. Him, Big Sean, Kendrick.
Yep. Which people forget about because of what Kendrick did.
Right. But all the right people were on that.
Yeah.
And fired hip hop in a way that's like, oh, hip hop competition is back. And we thought that that was going to be solidified, but Jay Electronica seemingly, or not even seemingly, he disappeared.
Yeah, and I think we were watching a Rob Markman interview where he was just talking about how Jay moves to the beat of his own drum, pops out when he wants to pop out, you know, comes in, comes out, like, and you know that if you're a fan of him. And it's one of those weird things where I'm like, there are other ways to me to subvert the industry, especially when you're an artist of your caliber. Yeah,
so his whole thing is like, I don't play the industry, you know what I mean? I'm gonna circumvent it. Yeah. I'm gonna be better than it. I'm gonna conquer it. But like, how are you gonna conquer it if you're not putting out any music?
I also think he suffered from the fact that you released your album in 2020. This album that we've been waiting for years.
Road to Perdition, is that the one?
No, it's A Written Testimony. So the original A Written Testimony was in 2020. It had like The Dream on it and was probably like the album, but again, COVID. And
I mean, but that was the perfect time to release something that was epic, right? So, you know, in our last show, we just talked about how Cardi was winning during COVID.
For different reasons, I think, though.
But why couldn't Jay Electronica win during COVID when everybody's paying attention?
Because you're not an industry person. Like, so you didn't, I'm pretty sure it was just like a drop.
But if the music was good, everybody would have been feeling it. I just don't think the music was good.
Could be. I just argue that it's because of how he moves. Like, I don't think like with Cardi, we talked about how everything about her aura and her energy, even outside of music, is something that your eyes are going to be drawn to. Mm-hmm. Jay Elect ain't that. Like, it's not like he's moving around. Again, not only are you not moving in the industry or dropping like an artist, you're also not necessarily bringing attention to yourself. Like, the attention comes from other rappers talking about you. And that don't sell as much. That might sell to like another lyricist or like nerd hip hop heads, but not to like the masses. So if you're not out here on the ground or trying to promote this album, I don't necessarily know how he would have expected to catch like wildfire.
I think you could just beat all those deficits by having good music. And that album, in my opinion, is not good.
Okay.
And that's because I feel like Jay Electronica is that vagabond that like kind of moves from place to place.
That's wild. He's a nomad hip hop artist.
He is a nomad. And so he wanders around like he's the guy that wanders into the barbershop. And he says, hey, y'all know what just happened like down the street? You know, it's like this thing, and then, you know, aliens, and then
yep.
and then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then, you know what I mean? Like, he's the one that stands in front of the barber chair for like at least 5 or 6 hours talking nonsense. And then as soon as he leaves, everybody's like, what just happened?
Like, the fact that you made him the conspiracy theorist, vagabond, nomad, who sometimes says some things that you're like,
that's kind of true.
That's kind of true.
Yeah.
And how do you know that? That's wild. But it definitely fits the whole scenario of like why it's a weird experience to me to be a Jay Electronica fan or even be adjacent to it. Because there's no standard way to kind of understand what this experience is.
But that's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is him. And that's the thing, is like you can't really separate that. When it comes to his music, he pops up out of nowhere. He talks to you in these really deep, poetic ways. Mm-hmm. And then he says some stuff that like really will just kind of blow your mind for a second. And then as soon as he leaves, you're like, what happened? And then you're wondering where he goes. But like every time he pops up, he says the exact same thing he said last time, but in a different way.
True. I will give you
and
that.
So that's what I'm wondering is like, when is Jay Electronica going to say something new? When is Jay Electronica going to actually surprise us in a way where those feelings from Exhibit A and Exhibit C still exist? And if that was if that's a false hope, then maybe we should just reconstruct our idea of Jay Electronica, that he's never meant to be this savior, so to speak.
Right.
He was just meant to be the vagabond.
And I know a lot of it is only unfocused to us because he has a rhyme or reason. He picks all of the things that he does and sequences these songs and has all the quotes from Farrakhan and everyone else that he has on there for a reason. I know that he's very calculated in that way, but a lot of times if I can't even get the calculation of like trying to figure it out, like just a starting point. Like earlier I was saying to you that I think he's the great value version of Lupe Fiasco. And I say that because Lupe is just as layered, if not more layered, and that's just my personal bias, than Jay Elect. But I can start with the breadcrumb and get somewhere. Jay just like will leave some breadcrumbs, make you think that that's an important breadcrumb, but that ain't even what he was talking about. And you got to go over here and you got to like have read, you know, this book and that book. And maybe you have to understand from this album. And it's like, it's not worth it. It's not fun. It doesn't feel like I'm actually like learning something about how you want to deliver these lines. It feels more exhausting where it's like, do you have cohesion or do you not? Are you so mysterious and so overly layered with your metaphors that you're not giving us what we're expecting?
Yeah. So speaking of Enigma, he's like the Enigma machine from the World Wars. Right? Like he is something that takes a message, scrambles it up, and then you have to decipher it in order to completely understand it. And I'm sorry, that's a little bit too much homework for even the lyrical me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's why I think your great value Lupe point works now, because it sinks in as, I don't want to have to, you're too cryptic. To me, and that sucks. Here's my last question. Do you think Jay Electronica is just an illusion?
Is he the inception of AI songs?
No. Well, kind of like, you know, in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And you have the guy that you know was eating steak, and he's like, this is the best steak. I don't know why anybody would choose this. I'll just stay plugged in and I'll eat the steak. Could Jay Electronica be the conspiracy theory that he spouts?
I feel more like the way I think about him in this illusion scenario, right? I think he is a Neo that escaped the Matrix, came back in, was looking around, was trying to save people they didn't want to be saved, and now he just spouts like nonsense that could free you if you paid attention to it, but he just comes in and like every now and again you're like, he's just a glitch in the system that at times like fixes himself and leaves and you don't know where he went, and you're like, man, I was almost there. Like I almost had a breakthrough, but now I'm starting over again. So yes, I do feel like he's an illusion because that's what he wants to be. It's too exhausting. Like I feel like he literally makes all of us the people who just want the steak.
Right. That's a great point. And so if he just like disappeared out of nowhere, like Bernstein Bears or something like that, it was.
Yo, no. We are not getting into these Mandela effects. Yo, chill. Like, what are we doing? This is the conspiracy podcast that is like gonna break my mind. Like next week, I'm just gonna be like,
yeah. But if Jay Electronica just poof out of nowhere, I think we'd be fine. They'd be like, what? You remember all those Jay Electronica albums? I was like, who is Jay Electronica? What are you talking about?
Dog. And like, all of a sudden you can't find Exhibit A or C anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not in anybody's hard drive. It doesn't exist.
Yo.
Just Blaze is doing interviews. He's like, what? What is that?
Dog.
I've never made a song.
I promise you, I would literally unconnect from everything. No. I already suffer from the Mandela effects of like the Fruity Loop spelling and all this other stuff where I'm like, what?
Let us know in the comments if Jay Electronica is going to disappear now.
Yeah, and let us know if you think we're going to get these 19 albums. Like, are we going to get like a prolific...
I don't think we're going to get 19 albums. I think we're going to get one album, and he's turned in 19 projects.
But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. I do hope it turns into something. I love some of the music. I do love Jay Electronica as an artist. It's too much work, just like this podcast.
Word.
But we'll see you in the next piece. A 1 and a 2 and peace.